spaces at these buildings, so a lot of people are renting out like an open space in a building and having their party there and just renting furniture. And that seems to be the better way to go. They can bring catering in. We've done a bunch of those. Those are thousands of dollars less. If people are thinking about doing that right now, the smaller companies or even the bigger ones, they may want to consider that because they can rent sometimes an entire 5,000 square feet of space, which is like a venue space, which can fit, a couple hundred people with round tables or long tables, and you can really make it look lovely, especially in all windows or lofts.
Are you seeing any trends in terms of that? Any certain aspects that you're seeing in for office parties nowadays around Christmas time?
Right now, the trend that I see is that people are renting the space in their buildings. I see that a lot, just because they still want to give back and they want to make it big and look great, and they bring it to a different space instead of inside of their office. If we go back maybe 3 years, people were doing it in the office. Now they're, looking elsewhere because people are getting smarter, and, it's like doing something in your home the same time every year and, changing up your home and making it look different so that people don't expect the same thing. Maybe it's the same tradition, but you kind of spice it up with decor. Maybe things are in different rooms. It really depends. But absolutely, the trend for office parties is definitely, utilizing what you have within the space that you're in. And I'm noticing in a lot of those buildings, that's why I keep bringing it up, because it seems to be that those spaces are open, they need the rent for it, and so there's negotiations happening, which is wonderful.
Yeah, I know. I mean, obviously space is at a premium in New York. I mean, how are you seeing that in like Chicago and LA as well?
Chicago is definitely a more expensive place. Their taxes are 11% now. So I'm finding that a lot more office parties are becoming a lot smaller for upper management, especially in Chicago. Some people are having it at their homes, like upper management at their homes, depending on where they live. And I find that New York is maybe a little more adventurous with doing it, again, like in a loft or in their building in an open space, and again, renting things and bringing the food in, or having people make it and bringing it in. So it's becoming more quaint. Businesses are becoming more like families, and that's kind of, they want teams. They want teams. They want a well-oiled machine and a team.
Yeah, and the other big thing during this time of year is obviously charity events as well. I mean, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with it. You've probably done quite a few yourself, but I mean, how's that been? How's that business been in terms of charitable work nowadays?
The charitable events are actually really good. The turnouts are very nice. It's nice to see that a lot of people are coming forward, whether it's Toys for Tots or United Way or some of the bigger ones. They're still having it at the venues. People are still paying the premium of, $150 a plate up until $500 a plate. And if companies that are sponsoring, people are looking for tax write-offs. So, of course, there's actually a couple companies that we are used to doing business with that actually brought everybody to a fundraiser this year as opposed to having a holiday party, because it's around the holidays anyway. So they're giving, everyone had to, I can't remember, I think two of them had to bring like goods from home, canned goods, and I think one of them was maybe clothing, jackets, and things of that sort. But the company would buy them tables, so they were contributing back. All the employees bringing things for the cause, and so I've seen about a handful of those, and I find it fantastic, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean,
why not encompass all of that? Yeah, great celebration, great bands, and great food. And a great cause all at the same time, and a tax write-off for the companies.
Yeah, it's absolutely great. I mean, it's great to be able to see that as well. But let's talk about small scale. I mean, obviously, a lot of people are doing holiday parties. First of all, tell me a little bit about how you're seeing it, because I think people are starting to want to do, crafts themselves. They don't want to buy anymore, and they kind of love the idea of just making themselves something. And there's a kind of a joy in terms of the work and to be able to do something like that. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Are we seeing a trend that more people want to do stuff on their own?
Absolutely. I'm actually a do-it-yourselfer, so I'm kind of what they call the IKEA hacker, but on the holidays I'm kind of the outside hacker. So, sending your kids outside to work and making them get pine cones or twigs or cranberries or just elements that you can bring in from the outside, even miniature pine trees, believe it or not, and putting it on the table and adorning it with just things that you have around the house. I'm finding that really common. I've done a bunch of articles about that actually. I think people are trying to cut back, and there's nothing wrong with bringing nature back in your house. I think it's pretty homey, and I think it looks really festive. So I'm finding that there's all kinds of crafts, and there's a lot of children. I'm kind of at that age. I'm not going to mention the age on for everyone to hear me. I just had a birthday yesterday, so but I'm finding that grandchildren or children, sending them outside and having them do treasure hunts and things to bring back these elements, and then having crafts so they're not sitting around watching TV and just eating all day. I find that would be a really smart thing for people to do this year, and I'm finding that a lot of people are talking about designing their own things for their table decor. Especially their house. I mean, why not?
Yeah, first of all, happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I wish there was more trees out here in Vegas, but there just isn't. That's how it is out here.
How about
in the
a cactus?
Desert.
Put some cranberries on a cactus. They have the needles. The needles can be your hooks. You can just you can cook the cranberries and just kind of slip it on because that's how sharp they are. And if you spray paint them gold, I think that'd be smart, don't you think? If you cook the cranberries, you let them sit out for a while, you spray them with gold paint or rose gold paint or silver paint, and you slide them on your cactus. Why not?
Yeah, definitely. It's great. Really around here, there's a lot of dollar stores around too, and there's so many items that are relatively inexpensive that you can bring home too, and just kind of decorate your home with, and do do some creative with as well. So it's great to be able to have the even here in the high desert of Vegas, you can at least do some decorating. I know we already have the lights, so you know how that is.
How many people keep it on the outside of their house all year round? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much. It's really nice. No matter where you're from, personally as well. It's great to be able to see that trend again. Like I said, that kind of go out there as well. I know. I grew up in Montana, so I actually do know the going out and hunting for stuff. I remember one of my Christmas memories. Back when there was a Festival of the Trees, and I was part of a Boy Scout group, and we basically decorated a tree with like pine cones on it as things, and we decorated the whole tree and all that as well. So it's always nice to be able to do something like that as well. It's great to be able to have something, and we actually, I don't know how much we sold it for. We actually sold it for a decoration of a tree, but for donations. So it's an interesting thing. Again, giving back to community as well. So yeah, it's
but
nice
it's smart though. It's smart to do that. Absolutely. Yeah. You're bringing up the dollar stores. One of the tips I've been giving this year is they sell those giant red bows. They come in multiple colors, and people are able to they have sort of a wire on the back, so you can attach it to the back of your chair. That just makes it look adorable. So for if you have 12 people or 20 people, it's $20, and you decorate every chair with these giant bows, and they're already pre-made. So if you're, I love decorating and I love wrapping presents. That's one of my favorite things, but they're already pre-made. I saw something really lovely. It was probably about maybe 3 days ago. Somebody said they went to the dollar store and they have these bows that you pull, and they become more like Christmas bows. And so they put those all over their tree with just white lights, and they were in silver and white, and it was so pretty. So pretty. So I asked them, how much did it cost? They said, well, the tree was $20. And I think she said the entire thing, including the lights and the bows, because all it was a tree of bows. That's it. I think she said it was somewhere like $35. That was it.
Yeah.
Probably one of the nicest trees I've seen in a while. Nice.
Yeah, it's great. Just the access to materials nowadays is just so interesting to be able to do that. Even if you can't find anything locally, or you're looking for something specific locally and you can't find it, you can go online to find it as well, and it won't be too expensive to be able to bring it to your house as well and kind of do that as well. So, it's just fascinating to be able to see that that's what's going on nowadays as well. Let's talk about food. Is there any specific food trends that are going on right now?
Food trends right now are all about appetizer parties, really. Appetizers are the best part of any event. So if you kind of screw those up, then you're in big trouble. But the appetizers are staying the same. I think people are getting into more flavorful and more herb-related foods. So, maybe you'd have phyllo dough, which is like a croissant, for example, and putting brie on the inside and putting maybe oranges and raspberries and, a little bit of pine in it. I mean, that's something that is becoming a big trend right now. But using very colorful and very pungent tasting items seems to be a lot of what people are getting ready to serve in a lot of the new recipes that are out. But the colors are amazing. I mean, like the reds and the oranges, and there's actually edible spray paint, so people are spraying their foods as well. There's what I enjoy doing around the house here is, I like cocktails big time. So appetizers and cocktails, but adorning your cocktails in edible glitter, putting edible glitter around your drinks. These are fun. It becomes fun.
Yeah, the tapas thing is something that, is really, really been trending the past couple of years as well. I mean, the idea that they have small bite-sized, pieces that you can do in mass quantities and to be able to have a little fun with them. It's absolutely great. Yeah, it's great to be able to do that as well. Especially desserts as well. I mean, desserts are always it's not like going to be like a huge pie or a huge cake. Sometimes there's the ability to do the small pies or cupcakes or something like that. The
little ones, the minis,
makes it a little bit fun.
The minis. They're a lot of fun. The minis. Have you ever had a 24 karat gold cupcake?
I have not.
Well, they sell edible 24 karat gold spray paint at a lot of the cooking stores, Michael's, a lot of those different places. So I'm noticing that people are starting to use a lot more of the edible paints right now. So it'll be kind of interesting to see what's going to happen this season, especially with rose gold being at the top of the charts. Everything is, monochromatic. So it's, I'm looking forward to seeing it. I've taken on some ideas for myself as far as coloring different things, so I think it'll be kind of fun. I think people will be looking at it wondering if they're going to eat it or if it's just for show, but it's edible. It's completely safe.
Yeah, just the fact that you don't have to worry about utensils or probably worry about plates. I think that cuts the cost, right?
There's some other things that I wrote about that were good, that got a lot of response, and that was on your plates. So, a lot of people like to layer different, entree. They get into appetizer soups. I mean, some people are very formal with the holidays, and so if they don't have chargers at home, you can actually buy plastic plates, spray paint them with edible paint, and layer them in between, so that nothing, when you put your food on it, it's a nice presentation of either sprinkles or sparkles or just something solid. But, it definitely adds more element and more fun to the table, especially if you're serving even the typical things. Some people stay away from turkey. They go more for ham or lasagna, or they do different things, but it looks really cool. You put sprigs of pine, you put different things on it, and it's very different. I mean, you're going to find this year, if you go to somebody's house and they're into doing something very different, you're going to see probably a lot more of the gold this year, definitely. Anything you do, even if it's edible food.
Yeah, and it's a lot of this stuff is going to be great. Is great for people to kind of know and take a look at, and as well. I mean, it's great to be able to see that as well. Now with everything that's going on, I mean, basically, I mean, how's your event company going? I mean, like I said, it's pretty active by the sounds of it right around this time of year, and is there anything major happening in terms of your career or the company?
As far as the company, it's kind of status quo, it's the same. So I don't find that this year's we're doing different things this year than we did last year. Like I said, we're getting a little more creative, a little more artsy, because budgets are not as big, but their creativity and what they're asking for is becoming a lot larger. So we can make it work. I can work with any budget. I take a challenge on any day. But what I'm finding to be most interesting is my other half of career, which is, television related. That's been crazy, absolutely crazy. I don't think I've ever experienced this time of the year with so many asks or desires to do hosting or different television shows. Pitching season for our industry is usually, I think, the end of August, and I think people are more apt because everything is reality related right now. So I'm finding that all these ideas are just flying out there, and it's kind of hard to say no to any of them, to be honest. They're all exciting, but I'm only one person. So I think